What's up, guys? I found this strategy a little bit ago and I really wanted to share it with you guys. This is one of the strategies we will be going over in my live sessions, but I always like to have videos up on here that people can, go back and look at, stuff like that. If you're familiar with the power of three, super, super similar, pretty much the power of three plus a Fibonacci, just to catch, the entirety of moves, and kind of just hitting the opposite once price comes back. Super, super clutch, super easy and simple to understand. So we're going to go over it and I'll show you guys exactly how I do this. Okay, so I kind of wanted to show you guys on some examples that I have taken over the past few weeks. This was actually just this morning. So again, if you're familiar with, let's take this out of here, with the power of three, essentially it's, consolidation, accumulation, whatever you want to call it. Then manipulation, which is essentially a break of, this consolidation zone. And then in a power of three, you would essentially take this move right here, right? You want the distribution. That's usually an entry on a power of three. Now with this strategy, kind of similar, except we use the Fibonacci to kind of help us figure out where this move will stop and reverse back to some sort of, zone of interest or whatever. That way you can also catch this. So if you're doing the power of three, great. Again, this would have been a great move. For me personally, on the power of three, I like to stay on the 5 minute and then enter once price, breaks either the last move or the zone itself of consolidation. But this just kind of helps maximum, profits, bigger entries essentially. So we're going to kind of go into it a little bit. If you don't know what the power of three is, you should probably check that out. It'll just be a little bit more helpful. Okay, so essentially you have your accumulation, you have your manipulation, distribution. You can take this move if you want. Honestly, kind of life hack to get, the distribution move. And then what I'm going to show you guys, that's what I actually did this morning on another pair. This also, works on pretty much any pair. PO3 happens pretty much everywhere, at market open or just before. As you can see, obviously this is before market opens that you see this, but when you would take the trade, it would be just about when market opens. Today happened just a little bit before. A lot of times I like to wait till 9:30, especially on gold. But with some strategies, I will say I give myself till 8 a.m. A lot of stuff happens around 8 a.m. But again, also just keeping in mind the news and everything else. So essentially you have your accumulation, you have your manipulation right here. So what you want to see is manipulation outside of your zone of consolidation, and then a move pretty sharp, pretty solid, pretty clear back towards the other direction. So as you can see, we have a clear, uptrend right here. Market also past this zone right here, telling us like, okay, yes, market is moving back up. So what you want to do with this Fibonacci is mark it on the zone that broke the consolidation. So this would be this right here. So on the swing high, swing low, whatever you want to call it, but you go in the opposite. So a normal Fibonacci, let's say normal Fibonacci, you would put it in the direction of the market itself, right? So let's say normal Fibonacci, you would mark it like this, blah, 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 target this, go down. With this Fibonacci, it's actually the opposite. And so let's say you are doing it on this zone right here. You're going to start from the low of the zone to the high. And that's essentially how you are marking it out. What you want to do also is you want to put it directly on, let's say, the down move. So you wouldn't necessarily put it all the way down here because, as you can see, this is a bullish candle. So you would mark it essentially at this last candle, and then what you're waiting to see is for price to come hit within here. This is, and realistically, that's exactly what you want to see, right? Because this is the move we're trying to catch. And so I'm just going to extend this a bit just so it's more clear. So like I said, you want to see price tap into this zone and reject it. And if not, because very possible it will continue straight through the zone, then this is your next target zone. You can target the 3.5 or you can target this. It all really just depends on the rest of the market. And this is where the knowledge of knowing the rest of the market, what the rest of the market's doing, comes in handy, in which I always tell you guys, because you want this to align with some sort of, P2A, like a fair value gap or just liquidity or something. Like you're not going at this blind, if that makes sense. And I'll show you another example on a different pair. But for now, to keep it simple, that's pretty much what you're looking for. So you can still take this distribution and mark this as a TP, but then catch that reversal, and essentially you're targeting this 0.5 right here. And as you can see, that's exactly what happened. You can wait till a candle closes back in the direction if you want. That's, just extra confirmation, stop loss at this or right above this zone. Okay, as you can see, we have this trade right here. Same exact idea, right? So also keep in mind your consolidation, your manipulation, whatever, won't always be super, super clear. You can go down to lower time frames for this. This was marked up on a lower time frame, and then I came back to 5-minute for entry. But as you can see, this candle right here was where I had marked out the fib, for the sole purpose that that was the last move down. Not necessarily a break of the consolidation, but it's kind of all just going off of knowing the markets as well. So there's some situations where you don't necessarily need such clear moves for this to work. It's just kind of getting to know the market, getting to know the strategy, which allows me, obviously to be able to place this here. Now this fib setting is a little bit different, but same idea. I just haven't changed it on here, but it was the same idea. This was a zone we were targeting right here. As you can see, we have the rejections. We entered off a third rejection because we didn't have a big, engulfing candle or whatever, but this was enough rejections to enter. And then I actually targeted this low, which TP, could be wherever you want it to be realistically. This could be TP1 and where you set your break even. Another low or whatever. It's all depending, obviously, on your trading plan, your risk to reward, stuff like that. So that's just something you're going to have to decide, I guess, and figure out how you want to do it. But essentially, that's literally all it is. It's all about, just the market. And you also want to make sure that your TP zone is also aligning with something, right? Your TPs aren't random. You want it to be a zone of interest or be some sort of supply zone or something. Like you don't want to go into it blind. So again, there's a lot more detail to go into this strategy. Obviously, I just kind of wanted to do a quick little video of like a recap of it so that once you guys get off my lives, if you have questions or you're like, oh, how did we do this again? You guys can come back. So this, I will go a lot deeper in detail and just how it works on my lives, of course, but I just wanted this to be out here, so just a little reminder. So if you want to see this more in detail, and just how to avoid, first of all, getting stopped out on this or knowing when or when not to take it, stuff like that, obviously, make sure you join my lives. We will be going over it in so much detail. And as you can